My life felt like it was straight out of a movie, and trust me, I was not the hero. For 8 years, Lindsay was my world. We built a life together, shared dreams, and created a tight-knit circle of friends. I thought we were unshakable. Then, one evening, it all shattered. She sat me down, tears in her eyes, and confessed she'd been seeing someone else. The person she named was my best friend, Mark. The betrayal was a double-edged sword, cutting deeper than I could have ever imagined. The aftermath was brutal. Lindsay, with her version of the story, painted me as the villain. She claimed I was neglectful, emotionally distant, and that she had turned to Mark for the comfort I no longer provided. Our friends, people I'd known for over a decade, started to pull away. First, it was the unanswered texts, then the canceled plans. Soon, I was completely ostracized. They all sided with her. I lost my wife, my best friend, and my entire social circle in one fell swoop. The loneliness was suffocating. I spent months and a days questioning everything I thought I knew about love and friendship. I was completely alone, left to pick up the pieces of a life that was no longer mine. I tried to defend myself, to explain my side, but no one wanted to listen. Lindsay and Mark were a united front, and their narrative was powerful. They were the grieving couple who found solace in each other after my supposed failings. I became the bitter ex, the one to be avoided. The pain was immense. Every shared memory with my friends was now tainted. The backyard barbecues, the weekend trips, the late-night talks, it all felt like a lie. I had to watch from the sidelines as they continued their lives, posting pictures together on social media, all smiles. While I was left with nothing but silence and memories, it was a dark time, and honestly, I didn't know how I'd ever recover. But time has a funny way of revealing the truth. I focused on myself, started therapy, and slowly began to rebuild. I got a new job in a different department, started hiking, and reconnected with a few old acquaintances who weren't part of that circle. It was a slow and painful process, but with each passing day, I felt a little stronger. I was learning to be on my own, to find happiness within myself, not from the validation of others. It was the hardest thing I've ever had to do, but it was also the most necessary. About a year later, the first crack in Lindsay's story appeared. It came from an unexpected source, Sarah, one of the friends from our old group. She called me late one night, her voice trembling. She apologized profusely. She explained that things between Lindsay and Mark had gotten messy. Apparently, Mark had confessed to a few people, including his new girlfriend, that the affair had started long before Lindsay claimed. He admitted they had been secretly seeing each other for over a year while Lindsay and I were still happily married, at least in my eyes. The narrative of my neglect was a carefully constructed lie to justify their betrayal. Sarah told me that Lindsay had manipulated everyone, playing the victim to perfection. She had systematically turned them against me with a series of half-truths and outright fabrications. Sarah felt immense guilt for believing her without question and for cutting me out of her life. She said she missed our friendship and asked if I could ever forgive her. It was a lot to process. A part of me was angry, but a bigger part was just relieved. The truth was finally coming out. It wasn't just in my head. It wasn't the monster they had made me out to be. Soon after Sarah's call, others started to reach out. One by one, my old friends came forward with apologies. They had seen Lindsay and Mark's relationship for what it was, toxic and built on a foundation of deceit. Their perfect couple image had crumbled, and in the wreckage, my innocence was revealed. Each phone call, each text was a small piece of validation. They told me how Lindsay had twisted my words, exaggerated minor disagreements, and created a story that made them feel they had to choose a side, and they had chosen wrong. The apologies were nice to hear, but they couldn't erase the year of pain and isolation I had endured. I was polite, I accepted their apologies, but I couldn't just flip a switch and go back to how things were. The trust was broken, not just with Lindsay and Mark, but with all of them. How could I trust people who had so easily discarded me based on one person's lies? I realized that the friendships I thought were rock solid were actually quite fragile. True friends would have at least given me the benefit of the doubt or heard my side of the story before passing judgment, so I made a choice. I thanked them for their apologies, but explained that I had moved on. I had built a new life, with new friends who valued and respected me. I forgave them, not for them, but for myself. Holding onto that anger was like drinking poison. and expecting the other person to get sick. I had to let it go to be truly free. I wished them well, but I closed that chapter of my life for good. My new circle of friends is smaller, but it's stronger and built on genuine trust. Today, I'm happier than I've been in a long time. The experience, as painful as it was, taught me an invaluable lesson about resilience, self-worth, and the true meaning of friendship. Losing everything forced me to find myself. I learned that my happiness doesn't depend on anyone else's approval. As for Lindsay and Mark, I heard they broke up. Karma, I guess. I don't harbor any hatred towards them anymore, just a sense of pity. They built their relationship on lies, and like any structure with a faulty foundation, it was bound to collapse. My foundation, however, is now stronger than ever. If you're going through a tough time, a betrayal, or a period of intense loneliness, please know that it does get better. Focus on yourself, find what makes you happy, and be patient with the healing process. True colors always show in the end. Thanks for listening to my story. If it resonated with you, I'd love it if you'd subscribe for more content. See you next time.